And here we are for another call-in show with Dualistic Unity. I'm very excited about this because I love call-in shows, and it's been a long time since we've done one. I say a long time, but I think it's maybe been a month or more. I'm very excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. I hope people get in there, give us a call. You can chat with us for up to 10 minutes. You can do so by going to dualisticunity.com/live. That's it. Just go there. There's a little bit of information about the fact that this is going to be an episode and that you will be on an episode for other people to listen to and other people to see. And that's it. If you don't mind that, and you shouldn't mind that really, unless you're not really good with what you want to say to us, in which case, that's fair. Just don't do that. But we would love to talk to you. So please do join us, dualisticunity.com/live, and that will put you in the waiting room and we will get to you as promptly as we can.
Sounds great. Yeah, this is our first one in a while and our first one at this setup. So we'll want to be on Zoom, right? Yeah, we'll have to for the timer, waiting room, and all of that. So yeah, dualisticunity.com/live.
Yes, sir.
Check it out, tune in. And yeah, bring up whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to talk or chat about. And yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back to getting more episodes out there and content. And yeah, sometimes I wonder, like, we film a lot of just conversations throughout the day. Like, what are we going to be able to keep talking about? And it's like that then becomes the thing that I think about. And it's so funny how often we'll get in the way of ourselves, like being in reality, being in the world, because we're thinking about how to do it instead of just being ourselves and like being involved in the situation. And that's can feel like such a go-to sort of like, oh yeah, just pay attention, just be involved in what's going on. And sometimes there isn't anything that you want to say or share or express besides that it's good to be back here and good to be here. And yeah, just every day learning more and more about all of this, myself, the world, and waking up curious about how things are going to go, being willing to look at uncertainty as an exciting thing, instead of something you feel like you got to figure out all the time is yeah, it's not necessary. That's for sure. It doesn't help.
And you don't need to, you don't have to figure out life, because it keeps happening, it just goes on. I think Robert Frost says that he's like, I can sum up, or I think it might be him that's quoted as saying like, I can sum up everything I've learned about life in 3 words. It goes on.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. And that is, someone is quoted as saying like, that's, what I know about life. It goes,
like forgotten 4th word.
It keeps.
That's implied. The fuck is implied, sir. I don't know if you. That's why I'm glad we're laughing, right? Because man, that is not the only option. But when you do laugh, it's usually after, taking in the consideration that, I don't have to take this so seriously. I don't have to solve anything. Life goes on. Life is still happening. And life is just a very general term that we're just going to use, knowing that there's no way that you could describe the totality of existence. The words are always going to come up short, because the word that I would pick makes sense to me because of my previous considerations and my previous experiences. But, the words that you will pick are going to resonate most with you. And so it's like, don't take the words too seriously, but sometimes the words are good enough, like keep going. You may feel like you can't, you may feel anxious, you may feel like you have no energy. Somebody had said that earlier. They're like, I have low energy and I don't know how I can. It's like, keep going. Despite telling yourself that you don't have enough energy to do the thing that you're saying, you would like to do, but you don't have the capacity to do.
Yeah, like how quickly you jump to a conclusion about something, or like you're feeling again a little more uncertain about things, and it's like, oh, it must mean this, or it's like because of this reason, or I can't do something, or I can do something because of this or that, and like almost validating your excuse to not just take responsibility and be yourself, like coming up with, oh, well, that's, human nature to act a certain way, or need something beyond, the basics, human interaction or connection even. And it can be such a just like assumption and distraction from, what's really going on,
Oh,
which you can't figure out anyway.
this is a call-in show, and
Oh,
it looked
right.
like somebody just called in. A ring, ring. Hello, click. Who's that?
This person would like to talk about, I don't know. There's a lot. Let's see what comes up first. That sounds like a great conversation. So without further ado, I will ask the man with the button to push the button. Push the button, man. And let's let Jazz on the show.
Access granted.
Buttons are being pressed.
What
Cameras are
is
being
up,
turned
Jazz?
on.
Good to see you.
Hello, guys. Good to see you guys too. Welcome back to the call-in show, as you guys are being welcomed back to it, as I am as well. So nice to be back. 10 minutes on the clock. Let's see what comes up.
Right.
Oof. Okay. Well, there's been a lot that's been happening, and very different kinds of directions that I've been going in, and seeing what happens, seeing what feelings come up. And camping trip was one of them. Camping trip was very interesting and exciting. That was my first time going out into nature and just sleeping there, which was an interesting experience.
That's awesome.
Like sleeping on rocks. Well, sleeping bad, but also like to change, there's rocks, like you're stepping on rocks, and a lot of feelings coming up throughout the whole trip. Spending that much time with one person, Tiffany, who was my adventure, my buddy on this trip. And I don't know, getting to see so many different sides of me was interesting as well, because I feel like, especially with Tiffany, for some reason, I feel like there's a lot of similar tendencies that come up in regards to, I don't know, people pleasing maybe, or feeling like responsible for what's happening, or for what can be gotten out of the situation. And so I don't know, there was a lot of feelings that were coming up, and I was recognizing as well that I've taken me to camping as well. And for some reason, I thought I wouldn't have taken me. I thought I was going to leave me behind. But it seems all of my assumptions and all of those things come with me and color the experience that is happening. And there was a lot of moments that happened this trip as well. I feel like it felt very full. It felt very like enriching. It felt whole, all of it. And it didn't feel like I thought it would, but it was, I don't know, engulfing almost, in terms of like how much I felt like I could swim through whatever's happening. Like I didn't need to feel like I was on land. Like I was standing on land, as opposed to just like, oh yeah, that's coming. Oh shit. Okay, okay. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just do whatever you can do with the situation that you have. And not just camping trip, but also lately, like went on a trip with family as well to Whistler, and that was really fun as well. Spending time with them and seeing them. But also that was also very full. You know, there's been a lot of full experiences, a lot of learnings, a lot of recognizing that it's very easy to make assumptions in the moment about what someone's going through, what I'm going through, and having no idea what is actually happening, and then recognizing how much I'm valuing my own intelligence to make corrections in other people, or thinking that I'm knowing what corrections need to be made and adding weight and tension, but also I don't know what kind of impact that's having, and I feel like I'm maybe like stressing out a lot about the kind of impact I'm having. And I don't know, I feel like I'm always having an impact, and so stressing out about making sure that I'm having the right kind of impact or not having the right kind of impact is moot. I don't know like what kind of impact I did have, you know? Like there were so many moments that happened and so many assumptions I made that like like
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of impact they had, but like people tell me and like I listen and you know like pay attention and take in the considerations, and you don't need to be like telling them like, oh yeah, like now I'm gonna do things this way, because I have no idea how I'm gonna do things, because I don't know like what I did was wrong or right or not, but it was just what I did. And
Mhm.
now new information has come up, and so now I'm doing whatever I'm gonna do now, which is again, I don't know. Like, and I've been feeling very uncertain, and I've been feeling very scared of that, especially since I got back, because I feel like I have been holding on to this idea, or had been holding on to this idea that I know the direction that maybe I can go in, leading to being a good direction. It's so funny. It's like, yes, there are directions. Yes, I can choose directions, but
Yeah.
am I holding on to me as I go in this direction, as deriving some sort of value, as deriving some sort of certainty about where it's going to take me, what I'm going to get out of it? And I feel like that whole adds on to the weight, and also like contributes to the fear that I feel with the uncertainty. Just been noticing again how much has been coming up as well in regards to the assumption that I had that I don't care about my birthday, or that I don't care about having a good time on my birthday. And just noticing how much came up yesterday when it was announced that, which I'm like, excited for, you know, a new location. That's cool. Uh, whoa. I don't even know if I can share any of this. I don't know how much I can say right now. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
That is totally fair.
Totally understandable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention to anybody listening that we have conversations in depth like this on Patreon all the time. And Jazz is often on
Mhm.
Patreon, where these conversations are basically just Patreon only.
Yeah.
And so it's just so easy to have these conversations. And I want to remind everybody that at one point, Jazz didn't feel quite so comfortable chatting with us about the ongoings of everyday life. We were all strangers. And so do join us on Patreon. Just shameless plug while Jazz recovers and decides where this discussion is going to continue on to.
The ball is in your court.
okay. Yeah, no, Patreon's awesome. And I do appreciate that this conversation doesn't need to be made to feel so heavy as well, because ultimately it's always just me judging myself. And so, like, if I'm not necessarily holding on to an idea of me, which I'm recognizing as well as like related to the directions that I feel like I can go in slash should go in, is like it's relating somehow to my idea of me. And so like I feel like I'm like burning, but also like coming alive, sort of that kind of like
Mhm.
both at the same time happening. And at the same time, like I feel like I'm losing my mind at the same time as well. And also like hanging out with my parents especially makes me especially feel like I'm losing my mind, because like there's like a very right way, there's a correct way to handle things. And I feel like I'm just doing, I don't even fucking know, you know, like I don't know, like not that. Sometimes that as well. And so then it's like I have no clue. Uh, and I never had any clue, but coming back, it reminded me just how much I don't know, like right now, it feels like the direction, quote unquote, that I want to go in is like just spend some time here, like in this apartment. Like it's gonna be like, I don't know. I feel like there's some stuff I want to do right now that's like maybe creative, maybe putting myself out there in different ways that I don't necessarily like. And also like job interviews. So that's exciting as well. Like, gotta make some money somehow, I guess. I don't know. I also don't know that, but
Yeah.
that's a direction that I'm going in right
Oh,
now.
I think that might help though, in terms of the direction thing, because you know, we tend to, when we're looking at like what direction do I want to go, we look into the future like a lot. Like it could even be tomorrow, next week, the next 2 months, the next year. But what are you doing right now? Like you just said, I want to spend some more time in my apartment. You're in your apartment. Like you are actually doing that right now. It's not a direction you're on, it's a step you're taking.
Mhm.
Right, and that's going to lead to another step, and ultimately that's the direction. So the best thing you can do is really focus on the step you're on. You want to be in the house, that's what you're doing. And that's going to change, and then that's the direction that's going to take. But the direction isn't where you're going in life, but how you're going through life. And so just focus on the step you're on. Buddha's whole thing is, if you're looking for your path, look down at your feet.
Oh, big time. Like so much of that searching for a path can be distraction from, because then even just saying that, you want to be in your apartment more, you're in your apartment now, all of a sudden you don't get that like hit, that soother or like something to think about. It's like, oh fuck, that one's already happening. So then I actually just have to be in my
Mhm.
apartment instead of looking forward to like, retirement or living. It's like there's the opportunity right now to do that.
Mhm.
But there's almost like you gotta you gotta be willing to give up that sense of knowing what's next, is even looking forward or
Mhm.
figuring out the right way, the thing you want to be doing. Like, oh, I've been traveling a lot, I want to travel less, or I haven't been traveling much, I want to travel more. But then you can get so focused on, the next place you're traveling to that you miss that,
Mhm.
within traveling, there's a staying in the same place all the
Yeah.
time.
And Jazz, I like that you talked about like going in a direction because I love it. That was cool.
Like the time.
Soundtrack, a little theater, a little drama, maybe. But yeah, no, you were talking about going in a direction, and it feels like the experience of life, it's going in a direction all on its own. So I actually don't have to put in more effort to have Amanda going in a certain direction. Things are already going in a direction. And like doing exactly what you want to do. But it's like, no, I want to know, I want to have a guaranteed number of times in my apartment. It's like, yeah, you could have that guarantee, but if you were stressing in all of those guaranteed times, how great is it to know the number?
It's got to be 7 hours a day. Set my timer
I
when I
want to,
walk, clock in, clock out of my apartment.
I've got leisure time on the schedule, damn it.
I think
Gosh.
maybe sometimes as well, it's not necessarily about I need this as much as just like maybe this is just what I feel like is going to happen anyways, like this is like the direction I was going in because I feel like there was some sense of control. But like if there's no sense of control, then I feel like, but then again, like that's an idea, like that I'm going to be spending my time at home is an idea of how I'm going to be spending my time if I'm losing control or not holding on to control, which is just holding on to another idea. Yeah, I have no fucking clue what's happening.
Yeah, but the nice thing is that you really don't need to when you really break down the the fact that the damage that most of us cause in our life is the result of us, being damn sure we know what's happening. And when we're not sure, then we're just left with ourselves paying attention.
Mhm.
There's a humility to it. There's a lot in accepting that you don't really know. And then the next step with that is just continuing on, having faith in yourself from moment to moment. Like you go into a conversation, you just go through the conversation. You don't have to think about how you're doing. You don't have to think about the impact. That's not all on you, but you can think about what you learned from it. You can think about how you felt going through it. Like, where was I apprehensive? Where was I, needing to prove something? Where was I, you could feel that in yourself, and that's the experience. But you don't have to be thinking about how you're perceived or what's going to happen afterwards, because you can't possibly know that. You just can't. And you have to be okay knowing that anything could happen after that interaction or after that situation, and that when it does happen, you're going to have the same capability to deal with it that you do right now, regardless of what it is. And that's really all you need to know. I made a video on TikTok early on saying, I don't need to know about the unknown. I know it's me facing it. I am the unknown. At the end of the day, I'm afraid of not being enough to be that, to face that. But that's just my own shit, right? That's all it is. And so it's really important to keep that in mind. We have another person in the queue, Jazz, but this has been just outstanding. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you. Are you going to be on the Patreon call later, do you think?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cool. It's good to see you, Jazz. Thanks for calling in.
Always great
Mhm.
chatting, Jazz.
We'll
Talk to you
continue
soon.
on. Talk to you soon, Jazz. We love you.
Love you guys too. Bye, everyone.
Love you, Jazz.
Love you, Jazz. Yeah.
All right. Now we have
right.
another person in the queue here.
Yes, we do.
And I love that we have a form, like I said, and you can join us anytime by going to that form. Go to dualisticunity.com/live, and that will take you into the waiting room where you will have 10 minutes after you're allowed to enter the call, obviously, to chat with us on this live call. Right now, we've got our good friend Marie, who we haven't seen in a while because we've all been away doing stuff. And she'd like to talk about, and I quote, stuff.
I like it.
Love it.
I love stuff.
Straightforward.
Yeah,
Very
not sure
excited
and
for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We are connecting with Marie.
Hello,
Right.
what's happening?
Hey.
Hello.
Oh, good to see
Hello.
you.
So good to see you all.
Likewise.
Great to have call-in shows back and to see you all back. I know so much has happened, and I'm sure I'll hear more about it on the Patreon call later. But just wanted to pop in because I actually felt like something loud going on. Hold on. I feel like I actually had a question today, and I feel like I don't think I've ever asked a question. Not that's not true, but there's so rare that I end up asking questions because usually when I do, as I start to talk it out, the answer unfolds, and that'll probably happen here too. But I was just curious about it because it's something that I feel like I think about often, and was just curious about your thoughts about it. So, like, I feel like a lot of things have been coming up in life, which isn't uncommon. But what I tend to do is it feels like I won't really feel it because um, the thought will come into mind like that. I don't even know how to put this into words. That like there are no issues, that there are no problems. Like I come back to the same kind of thoughts of like, you know, questioning what reality is in general, not holding on to my identity. So will there actually be problems, you know? But then it almost feels like that's become uh, a way to put off actually dealing with my shit at the same
Yeah.
time.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, and that's the pendulum swinging. You spend so long immersed in problems like they're the only perspective on things. And
Right.
then you realize, oh shit, there's a totally different fucking perspective to everything that has none of that weight. It's not personal at all. And then you almost start to cling to it after a while, right? And so this is why early on I was saying that it's always both and neither, right? Like, yeah, there are problems. Are they the end of the world? No. Are they totally personal? No. Are you affected by them? Yeah. Are you going to have an emotional response to it? Yeah, you are, and you should, but you should recognize that it's not the giant fucking massive wave that at one point you thought it was because it was the only half of the perspective you could see.
Yeah.
Right? It's to be able to balance the two and to actually go through your life with some degree. Okay, I that all feels the way it should. Like I'm operating with people, I'm feeling things, I'm learning about my insecurities, I'm afraid, and there's all that. On the other hand, that's all just me fucking being a living human being. Like there's a bigger perspective to all this, right? But we want to cling to one side for a while, and that's totally natural. This is why the pendulum swings. We find the balance over time. It's just funny how big some of those perspectives can be, like how little we can recognize, like holy shit, like I'm going down a path. And this is something that I'll be honest with you, people will go, shit, I'm disassociating, instead of just going, oh, I'm just kind of clinging to this now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm.
And thus the process of letting go has begun. Just the recognition that you are clinging to it a little bit. You're just like, oh, okay, the pendulum's swinging the other way now. But don't make it swing super fast and go, and I'm never gonna think about this shit again. And everybody who ever talked about it is an evil mastermind that's fucking up my life. It's recognizing that you're gonna find that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely been, and what's always helps is, like you said, the awareness of it all. Like I've been, like I recognize that I'm almost, um, putting off feeling about things that are actually affecting me because I'm just saying, well, there's really no identity to any of this. There's really no weight. But at the same time, I'll feel even like my body react into a way that I know is holding on to tension in some way, but I'm not actually, but like the awareness helps it all. It's like, oh, okay, that's happening. And so, yeah, you recognize as it kind of sways back and forth from, dealing with your shit and recognizing the shit isn't that bad at all and it's okay. And so, yeah, that's definitely been coming up because I feel like just so much has been happening since the last time I saw you all. And I know it's been the same for you all. So
Yeah.
it's just the way it is. So I'd be curious also, I guess, Amanda and Andrew, how you feel about it too, because we're all dealing with our shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big time. Because like finding that balance between, having a problem that's like an overarching sort of problem versus that's usually with yourself versus letting those go so you can see what's past that, I guess. And a lot of the, I don't know, problems that you can start solving if you want to use it as a distraction are about yourself. And it's like, okay, maybe if I don't have problems with like, not problems with yourself, it's like a balance of awareness with yourself and willingness to understand that it's not wrong, like you're not incorrect, but using that, sometimes you can get caught up in using that process of becoming more correct to distract yourself from, what's actually going on or like actually real situations that are going on, you know, in the world instead of just, responses to what's really happening. Because there can only be, one thing that you're really paying attention to at a time. And it's like, do I have a problem with what's happening right now or not? And then there isn't so much like, I don't know, certainty outside of that. You're a little bit more feel like you're free floating a little, but it's still, that's what you get to have that singular response to like right now. Do I have a problem? If not, okay, I can take the next step. Next step. But yeah, finding that balance is definitely a process, I would say, as you go through, more.
Yeah, I love this chat of,
Attention.
that you brought up like problems and like how real or how heavy problems are. And it's like things can be challenging, but you don't have to be in conflict with what feels challenging, because usually it's challenging an assumption that you had about how things would have went, and now your environment is not reflecting your assumption, and so now it feels like that's a problem. And I feel like you could easily describe it as just challenging an assumption that you thought, that you're still holding on to. It's challenging an assumption that you're still holding on to, but you don't have to be in conflict, because there's more than one response, there's more than one option, and everything else is still available to you. So our problems really, it's like, it's just that there are things that seem to feel difficult, but it doesn't have to necessarily feel painful.
I love that so much. And it gives me like such a perspective on all the things that I'm labeling in my head, labels, of like, what the problems have been. It's like that really has been just not things that I had assumed would happen and that are happening. And it's just like, is it, like you said, is it a problem, or is it just a change or a difference in what you were expecting, which is why we often talk about letting go of any expectations or assumptions in general, because we do not know, and that's okay. And I liked the conversation earlier about like how often we cling to the idea that there is some certainty. And then that often, brings us into the cycle of, being petrified of because of uncertainty, but that's because we're expecting there to be a certainty. There is none. So like, as long as I loved that. As long as we're clinging on, this is cool. I appreciate these conversations. It's nice that it was interesting because I got to connect with Jazz and Mary Kate, also great communities of
That's awesome.
DU. And we had a chat because it was just like, you guys around, I would love to catch up. And we caught up and we talked for like almost, it was like 4.5 hours or whatever, just straight talking. And but we talked about how, funny enough, that it was such a routine for us to have like DU calls be there, that when there was like a break, it was just like, it was such a funny, what a sound. Are you
This is like an epic soundtrack now. I don't know where that came from.
was that being pulled off the
That is
stage?
exactly what I was seeing as well. It's like that has to come with basically like a big cane.
Across the stage, coming
Zoom
outside
just
of the red
fucking-
curtains.
Oh my God,
Drew a
that's
picture.
great.
Like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
The curtain opening, the
You're
hand coming.
done.
That's such a different timer.
That's
Yeah.
such a different timer. But yeah, there was such a, it's funny because we have so many different expectations that pop up, even including the DU calls, which then made me think like how much y'all were putting in for years of these like weekly calls. And so when it wasn't happening, at first it was like, oh, and then I'm like, you know what? They deserve this shit. How long they've
Totally
been
worth it though.
No one else does that. No, nobody does that. It's crazy. So I appreciate that it has been a tool or a place that we could all attend to, but I also appreciate that you had the break too, because I'm sure it was well deserved and needed.
For sure.
Well said.
Yeah, because over the
Thank
years,
you.
it's been, as much as it's been a community thing, like it's been a practice just in my life. Certainly, I can't speak for them, but like consistently showing up and just like not needing to go in with so many expectations, like you were talking about, having expectations of things. It's like if you're doing enough stuff and like attentive moment to moment, it's like you don't have as much time to even come up with expectations or like, doubt yourself. It's like, oh, I've been worried about this thing coming up in a few days, and you have a bunch of shit in between there that you could also doubt yourself doing. It's like, there's less time to ponder. It's like, get on it. Life's happening live all the time. But yeah, it was definitely, it's been a consistent, week to week for me too. And even with social media too, just like sort of a very consistent thing in my life for a while. And that was something I noticed was, becoming something that I got kind of attached to in a certain way. And even just being, very narrowly focused on something that isn't taking in a lot of other things. And so sometimes it's just letting stuff go, letting it drop, and seeing what's on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So, but always great to chat, Marie.
Yeah, this
It's
is
good to
gonna
be
be fun.
back.
Hopefully we'll see you on Patreon in the next little while here. We do have somebody else in the queue, and they would like to follow up on your topic of stuff with the additional tag other stuff. So I'm glad we're going to be furthering this conversation, but thanks so much for joining us. It's nice to be back. And you're right. The rest was well needed, and the timing is always appropriate. So we'll talk to you in a bit.
Thank
Yes,
you,
see you
Marie.
soon.
Hi, Marie.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
It's funny with the new setup. I never know where to wave. Like I'm waving at the camera I'm looking at, but the camera's over there now.
Right.
So I should be waving to everybody over there, but I'm not. I'm waving over there. And I've done that a few times and had the same insight like, hey, that's not working. And I just wanted to mention that because, you know, often we beat ourselves up for things, but you get so used to doing something that the brain really does wire itself to do that a little easier. Just catch it. You know, it's as serious as absent-mindedly like misplacing your keys. You don't have to panic about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's for everything in life. You know, you're gonna get caught up in things, and then you're gonna recognize you're caught up in things.
Mhm.
And that is the process of you not being so caught up in things.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're going to get caught up in something else, possibly get caught up in the not getting caught up in the original thing. And then you got to stop getting caught up in the not getting caught up with the getting caught up to begin with.
Oh, and it sounds like you're talking like crazy right now, and I'm following every word, because that's the spiraling of your mind. You
Yeah.
know, like, oh, am I catching this? Where's this coming from? Oh, this was coming from this spot. Now it's not so much anymore. Oh, you got to stay on it, and it doesn't have to be so self-involved. Like you doing something, proving something, living up to some standard, even within yourself. You know, and just being able to not have that, you know, soother of, you know, if you just do this,
Yeah.
this will solve everything.
Yeah. Just accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
We have somebody else in the queue, and it's our buddy Jay, who we
Hey.
haven't seen in a while. Anybody, by the way, if you are looking to connect with somebody who is a fantastic person as a whole, Jay actually offers one-on-one chats through Dualistic Unity. You can go to dualisticunity.com/Jay, and that will take you to his offering. Jay's awesome. Jay, it's fucking great to see you,
Hey,
man.
Jay.
Jay, what is
Great to
up?
see you guys too. Hey, what's happening? It's been a long time for me. Seems like. Let me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I have some other stuff. I'm liking the idea, the conversation that you were just having about basically getting caught up in different narratives and things like that, and then finding out that you're caught up in a narrative, which becomes a new narrative, and then the next thing and the next thing, and I've been dealing with a lot of that in my own experience lately. I recently quit my job a couple of weeks ago. Things were getting kind of like tenuous there as far as like the politics, the social dynamics and things like that. There's a lot of like people there that were kind of entrenched in their roles, and it was just a gossipy kind of. I over time I really found it to be kind of a negative environment to work in, and I'm talking to myself, I'm like, you don't have to let this stuff affect you, because not a damn thing that anybody else has to say about you really matters. Whether or not people are saying something about you or not, or whether or not they're thinking about you or not, none of that even matters. So you can just go ahead and go there and do your job, and everything will just be fine. But as I'm going and practicing that, people actually don't appreciate me, or for whatever reason, they actually like didn't like me. I felt like, words were said. Let's say I got in a kind of a tiff with this guy, but it had kind of built up to that point with me back and forth trying to face what's going on with the social dynamics and politics and stuff, and trying to like just go the high road, I guess, and not try to get involved in that. But by doing that, I was actually kind of getting involved in that. You know what I mean? Because now I'm not part of the social circle, and then I was kind of outcast because of that. Anyways, it got uncomfortable, so I quit the job, but found another job in a couple days later, which I'll start in a couple of weeks, which is great, and actually pays 20% more, and yada yada. It's a better job, and
That's
it's
awesome.
going to be a better.
Congrats.
Thank you. But I wanted to discuss that whole process of what I was going through with the job, really, and the way that, because I was really starting to feel like that tension started to build up inside of me. It's like mentally, bodily, like I could kind of feel this sort of weight going on with that, and trying to be observant of everything that's going on. It really had a lot to do with me, and like I'm over here thinking that like I'm not tied to my identity and ego and everything. Like I've learned some stuff. I've done some practices, and I've got a little bit better of an understanding of that stuff than maybe these people do, because they're just totally full on identity. But was I any better, really? Was I any different than anybody else? Not really. I don't know. I was just wondering what you guys had to think.
I think this kind of goes back to what Marie was expressing, like, you know, you're in a real environment where you're seeing things like, you know, none of this is personal and I don't need to be involved, right? But everybody else doesn't think that way. I mean, it's like you said, you know, I was outside the drama, and as such, I was suddenly part of the drama. It's like, but you weren't. It's just that everybody else is thinking you are, because that's the only thing they see is that drama. So for me, it's again both and neither. You know, like, yeah, it doesn't really impact me, but on the other hand, these fuckers are going to do something I'm going to have to deal with. There's going to be some kind of an impact. Like, there's something building up, which is why, you know, I'm fairly forthright with people. Like, I'm easygoing, right? But if I can feel somebody just, you know, has a gripe with me, like they're giving me the side eye from time to time, they're avoiding me, so on and so forth, eventually I'll just go, all right, what's up? Like, what's happening? And I'll talk to them as a person, and I'll go, all right, cool, that's a consideration, and I'll move on. But, you know, it sucks because you can't help it, and there's no control. You know, there's no control. Like, the situation you went through, you had no control over that, and it sounds like it ended up working out for the best because you got a better job. You know, but that's it, is being able to recognize, like, you did your best. You learned a little bit about yourself, the fact that it doesn't have to be personal, but that doesn't mean other people aren't going to think it is, right? And your ability to walk the fuck away from that shit. You know, it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. You didn't fail. You know, it's not like you went in there as their messiah. You know, like, you went in there as a person. You're like, I'm here to fucking let the work together. Doesn't mean everybody else is. You know, but I'm glad that it's kind of like you shed a layer of skin. You went, well, I've learned what I can here, and you went somewhere else, and you're going to go with the same intention, and hopefully you'll deal with a little less bullshit. You know, but that's the process of living, is you go from place to place to place if you have the courage to leap. So I'm stoked for you, man. I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes, and I've been excited to hear how it's went as you've shared it with us, because I think you did a great job. I think you did the best you could.
Yeah, because navigating those social dynamics can not always feel super easy, and I guess, just at least for me, really clearly seeing, like, in efforts to control, you know, we lose it, or don't get, not that we lose it, but just we lose, there's very little sensitivity in trying to do the right thing in your head, or like assume that, you know, in dynamics with people, even assuming things about people, like, there's recognitions, and, you know, I think you can get really caught up in jumping to conclusions about people. I definitely recognize that in myself, with, like, whether someone's, you know, we've talked about early on in the podcast, like the conversation, the deeper sort of the willingness to question things. Oh, if someone's, like, you know, a big sports fan and they're religious, you know, they're not as attuned to things or involved in reality, and that right there, like, that, my jumping to a conclusion there is my distraction, is my assumption. Like, sure, maybe they're making certain assumptions or focusing on certain things, but that response, it's like, there's a sensitivity to that, sure, but, like, to think that, like, I got very caught up in assuming that it meant something about me because I wasn't doing that, and yet that was just another way to think about myself. Like, regardless of where someone's at, there can be, you know, the potential to connect anywhere, and it I think sometimes letting go of even the assumptions that we're making about where someone's at or where they're at internally, there can be a little more, I don't know, things don't feel like they have to be figured out so much. It's like, oh, they're what they are, I'm what I am. Like, paying attention is the best thing I can do, as opposed to assuming too many things.
Yeah. Life isn't a problem to solve. And so it has been really cool to watch you, Jay, go through and put the things that we're talking about into practice, and to tell us about your application and the things that you're learning in your in the experience of moving and dealing with drama, and not attaching and investing in it in the same way that people around you are investing in it. And so it feels like you're outside of it. And yet you're still kind of brought into it anyways, because people are viewing you through the drama lens. And so even if you're not actively contributing to the drama that you're seeing, you're still viewed through that, because that is the priority, and that's the experience that's happening right in front of you. And it's cool not to take it too seriously, and to see how easy it is to make that same investment, and how, although we can be aware of like how we make that investment with friends or at work, it's like you don't know all the ways that you invest and things to attach to. But paying attention to it, being open to the fact that you can still do that, that you are still doing that, and that doesn't mean anything about you, because there's always an opportunity to not invest in that when you see that you have been.
Yeah, it really just comes down to staying present in the moment, as always, I think. And it's difficult for me dealing with people that are very polarized in their views about things, and not to classify people in that way, but some people are just single-minded in the way that they see things, and aren't willing to see the other side of the coin, or to consider, that there could be more going on than they believe is going on, with whether it's very strong political opinions or opinions in general of any kind that people really are strong to stick to. And I have a difficult time with people like that, and that's my stuff, though. Like, they have their stuff and that's my stuff, because I'm the one that's
Right.
having a difficult time with that, so it's something that I'm cognizant of, and that it creates an effect in my life. It has an effect. Just that thought, that that just that thought has an effect on, like a broad effect on my life. It kind of paints things in a certain brush and
Mhm.
colors my life in a certain kind of a way. And so I'm at least noticing that, and to understand that I have a part to play in all this too, whether it's the way I see other people, the way other people see me. It's
Mhm.
really a spectrum of stuff, but it's cool to learn in any respect.
Yeah. One thing I find, at least I have found, is that, there's I guess there's a bit of an agitation or a frustration dealing with people in a mindset that you yourself have been working to get out of, right? Because you have a judgment against that mindset. Often that's what's driving us out of it. It's like, I don't like being that person. Fuck it. I'm going to let it go, let it all go. And then you meet people who are like, oh, I still like being this person. You're like, do you though? And so it comes down to just like, right, I remember that. I'm not going to judge you for it. I don't want to deal with it, and I'm going to have to deal with it, but whatever. Like, you're afraid. And that's what it is. They're afraid. We were afraid.
Mhm.
That's pretty much it. And you can't rationalize with somebody who thinks they're drowning. But you can definitely keep your distance as best you can, and try to be there for them. But recognize they're going to pull you down if they can. I think you did a great job, man. And I'm excited to hear how the new job goes.
Mhm.
Thanks. I'll be seeing you guys in the Patreon call a little bit
Oh
later.
yeah,
Sounds
Look
great.
forward to it.
Yeah.
that'll be great. Well, thank you for calling in, sir. Always good to see you. It's nice to be back.
Cool. You too. Yeah. Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Thanks.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you
Bye.
soon, Jay.
Hell yeah, call-in shows.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love them.
This is a call-in show for anyone who is watching, dualisticunity.com/live. And
You're
you
here.
can call in as well. Use the link
Exactly.
there.
Absolutely. We have the ability to also like type the link in the comment section on the other browser, but it's difficult, and we'd have to go to, there's a bunch of stuff we'd have to do. Or if anybody's logged in, you can type it in for us. Dualisticunity.com/live. And again, all you have to do is agree that it'll be on an episode, and we can chat about anything at all, conversation. And we're going to be making this a bigger focus in season 7, just for anybody who hasn't been tuning into some of the raw episodes lately. We're coming up to the last episode
Indeed.
of season 6, which we believe will be recorded on Friday at noon.
Yeah.
Or sorry, that's noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes.
That'll be episode 43 of season 6, which has been so fucking long.
Yeah. Almost a full year. Almost a full year. It was the Netherlands that episode 1 happened. Holy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be our last 9-day Dualistic Unity
Yeah, it
retreat was in
was.
the Netherlands.
Mhm.
That was great. But this year we're going back to Port Alberni.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
November 2nd
Oh
to
my God.
10th. We still have one ticket left
I
for
know.
that.
I'm so excited.
It's a double bed. Anybody would like to come to this event, do come to this event. We only do these like once a year. We have another mini retreat that's going to be announced later today or tomorrow on Patreon. This mini retreat's going to be in, correct me if I'm wrong, Arizona.
You are correct, sir.
And what are the dates on that mini retreat?
The day we have microphones now. The dates are February 20th to 24th, and it's in Payson, Arizona, about an hour 20-minute drive northwest of Phoenix. So fly in there, easy drive. There's foosball. There's a pool table with a nice big, I don't know, sort of like attic room, cottage, log cabin vibe. There's big outdoor fire pit. Yeah, it's a beautiful location. Going to be nice, temperate temperature, reasonable weather. I think. I
Mhm.
think Arizona in February. I feel like that's one of the best places to be in North America, weather-wise. So it'll be really nice there. And apparently, there's some elk that wander through the yard from time to time. So
Nice.
yeah.
I, for one, will be foozing the fuck out of that ball.
It's right in the middle of the kitchen, living room, sitting area. It's like a big sort of open space, kind of right in the middle of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, details. What is that? It'll be posted for tier
Tier
three,
three.
but you get a massive discount
Yes.
on
$350.
Yeah, it's
That's a nice
sizable.
discount.
And these are reasonably priced tickets.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
too.
That's
So,
awesome. So yeah, if you can't join us in Port Alberni, Arizona. Arizona's coming in February, and then we have three
more,
other
yep,
events after
that are
that coming up, and
in
we
the
will be
works.
announcing them shortly.
Yes.
Um,
Stay tuned.
over the next couple months. Obviously, we're going to give people a chance to get in on Arizona before it's listed publicly. Then we'll post the next one. So pretty much once a month for the next couple of months. Posting mini retreat options and locations. I am very excited. What were the other states that we were thinking about?
Thinking Virginia again, somewhere in Ontario, probably north of Toronto, and then fourth one, possibly California, possibly Pacific Northwest, like Oregon, Washington area outside Seattle. There was a few cool spots.
Right. Seattle's very
So-
cannabis friendly. We like that a lot.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and then probably Port Alberni again in next November.
Oh yeah,
So-
for sure. Unless, who knows, at some point we might be working with somebody on our retreat property of our own. At that point, we might be working towards it. Things are moving very fast.
Indeed.
But yeah, it's been exciting. It's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of developments in Dualistic Unity lately. We've been boom.
Karaoke
Oh,
business.
a
in
question.
the
Are we
works.
getting?
No,
Oh yeah, I did want to say this is a Quallen show. Also.
it is a Quallen show.
So
Indeed.
that means Q&A.
That's right. Or if
So,
you
you
happen
can
to be
ask
a qual, please call in.
Right.
Quail, qual,
Quail's also accepted.
do your thing.
I think qual is just quail, but with a quail accent.
Ah.
So they don't call them. See, they don't call themselves quail. They call themselves qual.
Ah.
I'm just going with it.
I'm qual.
That's right. You too can have this riveting kind of conversation. For this episode, just go to dualisticulity.com/live.
Right.
And you can join. You don't even have to be on the screen. That's the nice thing about it. If you fill in the form, there is a phone number from various different areas of North America, because of course it is a Zoom meeting that you will be joining. So you can call in as well. You don't actually have to be on a video.
Yes.
That helps. You can also disable your video if you need to. You can just chat with us in the bottom corner in the chat screen. But I would encourage you to just jump on and have a call with us. Otherwise, we're just going to start talking about a bunch of new shit. If you haven't been watching, Dualistic Unity has changed description. The description for the podcast has been altered on Spotify and Apple and all of the other podcast platforms. We are moving away from the not away from, but moving. Yeah, no, straight up. We're moving away from the, I guess, not necessity, but the indication that people should go back to season 1, episode 1. And the reason being, there's a couple reasons. There can be this misinterpretation that all of this conversation is meant to be the point. That's what a few people have been communicating in general, is that you get kind of so caught up in the, I am everything and none of this is personal, that you forget you're still dealing with people who don't think that they're anything and take everything personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're still impacted by the real world. It is both and neither, right? And despite my repeated warnings in season 1 and 2, we have actually had a lot of that misunderstanding over the last couple of years, that it is not about the philosophy. It is not about the words. It is not about, the high-mindedness. That's all very cool and it's fun, especially when it doesn't mean anything about you. That's really the only time it is fun, is when you can look and marvel at existence and the contradictions and the paradoxes, and it's just so incredibly enriching for you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean anything about you, but it's your life and it's a very full experience. And that's really all it's about, and as much as we have talked about that, it is very easy to just stay on that side of it, where again, you disregard the philosophy is the disease for which it should be the cure. You start to actually think to yourself, no, it's really just about telling this to other people. It's about expressing this to other people rather than just expressing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And recognizing when you're expressing something for the sake of being something, or when you're actually just expressing it because that's what you are. That's who you are. And there's nothing to judge. And so in season 7, we are just going to have a lot more conversations with people. And although that will be part of the conversation, because obviously this is a big part of this, that we are all in this together. That's really it. We are all one, sure, but that can get abstract and cerebral. That can become philosophical and spiritual, rather than as real as all of the cells in your body being you. See, that's not spiritual. That's not abstract. That's a reality. It's a reality that is part of your existence. It's a reality that's part of all of our existence, that we are as connected as each of our cells, regardless of how we look at it. That is simply something that you can embody. That is simply something that you can understand, recognize, take in moment by moment as you decide not to give into your fears, as you recognize where you've over attached to something, over committed to something because you've forgotten that. You think that you're alone, and so you're afraid. And so you over attach to a strategy, you over attach to a silver bullet. But to recognize that and just come back to here and now helps.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
if you don't want to, if you're not willing to pay attention to like what's actually going on, then the focus is you're going to use your mind to try and come up finding that right thing. It's the same with the right thing to believe in, become the right words to say. And with the, this conversation philosophy, it's like coming to the right, saying the right thing without anything behind it. And then there's a hyper focus on the words, and there's very little ground that you're standing on. Being high-minded is like being separated from the, I don't know, source of where the words can come from, which is relaxation, which is not setting such, massive bars for yourself or constantly trying to prove something one way or another. Like that's, there's the ability to express, I don't know, more reasonably from there. But I'm glad that, the description is shifting, because, you can get good looks at how tied up and trying to, how focused you can get on that. Because like even focusing on it isn't a bad thing at all. Like all of the insights that someone may get, or start wondering things in themselves in season 1 and 2, like they're all potentially helpful stuff, whatever, you know, applicable things. It's just when it means something about you for understanding it, there can be such a, you know, separation from reality, you
And
know?
everyone, because it means something about you.
Yeah. No one
And
else.
there's that divider.
No
Is
one
that
else.
you that we focus on as idea? It's a bitch.
Mm,
It really is. Like, because that's what you're giving up at the end of the day.
yeah.
The idea of you having any actual indication of truth.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, because that can be such like going into say, you know, coming across dualistic unity, if you're living your life assuming things mean something about you or trying to be something, and like thinking that how you do things or what you understand or what you express means something about you, then that can very easily become the focus, as opposed to something that, like, there is no niche to it. There's no right thing to do. It's a moment to moment sensitivity. You start to notice that in conversations too, that, you know, oh, it's not about, you know, having the right thing to say. It's like letting go of that need, or the need to be something for, you know, whoever you're talking to, or to get them to try and get them to see you in a certain way. And, you know, it's what a few people have expressed on this call, like that attempt to control even how you're seen. Yeah, assuming you can get to that point where like, oh, I can know how I'm seen exactly. But I guess that comes with a balance of being willing to be honest with yourself and see yourself fully also.
Yeah. Or
But
or just to see a little more. You know, I don't necessarily want to have the goal to see myself fully, because that feels like an ongoing, lifelong process, and I don't think I'll ever see.
I think that
Well,
actually might be life. Like, if you think about yourself in 4D, like to see yourself fully is from birth to death.
see as much as you can.
That's it. That's all you're gonna see. That's what you're gonna see. That's the full you. Whatever the fuck you witnessed.
like the only way to see that is to keep paying attention
Exactly.
in the moment. It's not something then you like step away from and start wondering about necessarily. It's like, yeah, being continuing to pay attention.
Isn't that funny? Like you have no choice. Moment by moment, you're just being more of you. Like there's nowhere to go. You have no choice. You're going to be more. Just pay attention. And it's way easier than we think. But again, this is a call-in show. Just wanted to mention that to everybody. You can call in. But since nobody has called in, I noticed that Jazz has submitted
is that
the form and wants to come and join the conversation again. So fuck yeah. Let's
Okay.
give Jazz another 10 minutes to fucking chat with us and share with the community, because that's always fun. But if you are out there, anybody else, and you would like to join us, we would love to chat with you. And if not, that's okay, because as we said, there's going to be a lot more call-in shows.
Yeah.
Going to happen a lot more. I'm very excited for it. Jazz,
We're back.
You are
Hey.
back.
welcome.
Not that you ever really left. You are with us in spirit.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course, as if I don't even take that in. I don't even like, I don't know. I don't know.
So where would you go now?
I guess I wanted to share more of the camping trip because I felt slap partly compelled, partly persuaded, partly also like motivated, because I don't know. It was really awesome to go on a camping trip and share that experience of being out in nature and looking at so many stars that I've never seen before in my life. And
Cool.
that, yeah, it happened on the last day as well. Like it rained on the second day. It like rained so much on the second. It rained all day. And the original plan was to like stay in the tent and maybe play some games or something. And I don't know. I was feeling like I grew up a lot around rain being like a fun kind of thing. And so like for me, like the emotions that come is like I want to be drenched. I want to like go out, and also like we were out in nature and like I wanted to see all the different things that you could see in Tofino. And so I wanted to go on an adventure. Tiffany was like down to join me as well, and that was awesome. Like going out, exploring all of the different trails that you could. and
That's cool.
getting really, really soaked as well. And also like learning about how water changes everything. Like so many considerations were coming up because of the fact that not only did it rain, but I got my cotton stuff wet. I'm learning about materials now as
Oh, that
well because
sucks.
you're right, yeah. Like I have like synthetic stuff that I could have gotten wet, but I didn't know. Like that's how water affects things. And so also I didn't realize that you may want to put stuff in a dry bag as well, like clothes in a dry bag while it's raining. Otherwise, or like sleeping bag as well, because like down sleeping bags apparently lose all their insulation when they're wet, and you don't have to get them soaked. It can just be wet from the moisture. So like,
Yep.
uh, I guess I didn't quite understand that being in a tent is not the same as being in a concrete building.
At all. It's a thin layer of vinyl between you and the world.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, it was so awesome in some ways as well to go to sleep listening to the ocean and just having no background noise at all. Like ever since I've come back to Nanaimo or here, Vancouver or Whistler, I've been noticing just how much noise there is all the time. It's like crazy how, I mean, as far as I could feel, like nothing except the ocean or rain. If it was like raining really hard, then I would hear the droplets of the rain on the tarp or the tent. But it was scary at first. I couldn't sleep the first night. Like I couldn't sleep for like hours. And then after a while, I did go to sleep. And part of it was because of the fact that my socks were like, again, not like the kind of socks you want to have. Like I didn't realize as well, you can't just sleep in your sleeping clothes that you wear at home outside because you are outside. Uh,
And what's funny is
Not
that
much you learn.
so I was in the bush in that region starting in November. So
wow.
it rained all the time. Like I said, there was a point where it rained for 60 days without stopping.
I was very curious about how you managed to have dry clothes, honestly.
Oh, I didn't. Well, I was like, if you're not
Uh,
going to go out in that region and get wet, you're just not going out half the time. So no, it was an ongoing journey of using dry wood to dry wet wood to burn to dry more wet wood, and then I would sit beside the fire while it did that and just steam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you really
Wow.
get that
Fire.
sense where things come from, and that appreciation for the convenience getting back into the world when it's not
Oh yeah.
so
No, there's
much
nothing
out
like
there.
pulling off your clothes like it's attached to your skin.
Like a
Oh,
mop,
yeah.
like a towel. If you ever get a towel soaking wet, yeah,
Yep.
putting that on.
That's exactly what
It's
your
like
clothes feel like out
heavy
in
as
that weather for
fuck.
sure. But if you just give up on being dry, you're fine.
Mm,
Mhm.
dropping that bar, dropping that pole.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, it was a good experience though. I'm glad that you went and had it because I know for me it was it was like 8 months, doing that. So it was a long time, but and it wasn't there was no bathrooms. That was the difference. The bathrooms really are a nice touch. When you're out in that weather, you're like, thank God I don't have to dig a hole.
And not just bathrooms, but also like the option of bathrooms as well. Because like the guys' bathrooms are so much worse. So much worse. Like they're dirtier. They don't have
No,
hooks
that's like
anywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, but like the contrast was like strong here. I feel like because like even the outlets were fewer. Even there were no hooks. It's like, do guys not need things to put?
Not even
Like,
trying to
are you
hide
not?
it.
That's right. We're just out there roughing it,
That's right. You don't need your fancy tools,
being all manly.
Like jackets?
your fancy gadgets.
This. How dare you expect us to cater to you?
I live life raw.
Yeah. Just go dig a hole, you manly man.
But back to what you were saying about, the silence is, it's kind of like when the power goes out,
Hmm.
all of a sudden it's almost eerily quiet, and you could have nothing on in the house, and all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, what the fuck? And it's because there's like the hum of the fridge,
Yep.
You know, there's like the hydro lines or the generator outside, or there's fucking traffic 2 blocks away.
AC,
There's shit that
fan.
you're not hearing. There's your neighbor's TV that's just the subtlest of background noises, you know, like there's all kinds of shit because you're surrounded by fucking people, you know, but you have, as you said, you know, concrete walls around you. And so you've got the illusion of isolation, whereas, you know, in a tent, you don't have that illusion. And the first night that you're camping, you're like, what was that? And it's just a fucking drop falling off a leaf.
That's
There's
right.
nothing there at all. And you're just like, shit, I don't know what's out there. And I'm not fucking safe.
Is it a cougar or a chipmunk?
Absolutely. Or am I just fucking with myself? You know, and it's so much fun because it really is. And you really see at that point that all you have is whatever happens. And most of the suffering is from your imagination of what that could be. Because until something actually comes towards the tent, you know, or by towards, I mean in, there's nothing you can do. What are you going to do? Get outside your tent every time you're afraid and go, who's out there?
Oh yeah.
Fucking start looking around, fuck off. And then go back in. You'd never sleep. So you are forced to deal with reality. You're forced to lie there and go, you don't know. You have no control. You have no certainty. Are you going to fall the fuck asleep, or are you going to sit here and panic about every goddamn thing you're imagining it could be out there? And that's life. Welcome to it. You know, that's it. Moment to moment to moment. You know, but it's not just fall in when you're awake. It's not, are you going to fall asleep? It's, are you going to dig into your mind? Are you going to dig into the illusion of control? You're going to close your vision and cut yourself off just so you can feel safe. You might as well put your sleeping bag over your head. Seriously. But
Yeah, and like, and how long are you going to spend your whole life like thinking about how to do something or how to control something, even, or that thought of like, oh, you know, if I fall asleep in my tent and an animal comes, like they could kill me and eat me, and just kind of have to being willing to resign to that. Like maybe I'll get eaten by a bear. And it's like, it's freaky to admit that
yeah,
like,
you don't have to be happy about it.
yeah,
No.
no, like maybe it will happen, but one way or the other, there's not, unless I'm going to stay up all night, there's no way to control that. But yeah,
But even
it's
if you
like,
do stay up all night, you can't control if the bear walks by. So there is no if-then equation that gets you to a more certain place. It's just the bear's not eating me right now. I'm gonna go to sleep.
mhm.
And if I feel nibbled on, I'll wake
I'll
up.
wake up.
You know?
Do what I can. Maybe I'll
Forward.
maybe I'll keep a pan close or something.
And if I wake up and you know it's nibbling on me and I'm fucked, well then I'm fucked and it won't last that long. That's
Exactly.
more or less
But I'm
it.
gonna
Like,
get
there's-
some sleep before I'm fucked.
There's nothing you can do, like, except what you can do, and that's always the case.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's really it. Like, what can you do with right now?
Mm-hmm.
You can distract yourself so much with what's down the road that you fucking miss shit right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I find that to be the one thing I'm really trying to, you know, not even trying to, just realizing more and more is how little of my attention has been on what's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always been on you know where I've come from or where I'm going. You know, and even when it is about now, then it's quickly about like, you're right, but I got to do this more. It's like, fuck, you know, that's about the future. You know, like immediately. Oh,
Shoot.
that's it. You're being ushered out. Your time is up. No, I'm just kidding.
This time I
It's
actually
like
got the
orchestra.
soundtrack. I
It's
didn't
like
hear
you're
it.
at the
Previous years.
Oscars, and they're just like harsh about it. They're just like, you're done now. Get the fuck out.
All right. That's
Loudly
it.
start the trumpets and the horns and everything.
That's right.
going. Like,
We've got to
it
get
is
ready to
that.
announce the best soundtrack. Hurry up.
Mhm. Yeah.
And today's winner is. But
Da, da.
I appreciate you guys having me. Do you guys have anyone else after?
At the moment, no. And we'll remind our listeners that you can join us for a
Yeah.
live call. Just
Mhm.
dualisticunity.com/live. Feel free to jump in or don't. And if nobody does jump in, then likely we're going to wrap up this call in about 12 minutes.
Mhm.
So jump in now or we're out. Just kidding. We're just going to take a quick break, go out, enjoy this last of the summer weather because it is gorgeous
Yeah.
out here, out on the West Coast. The weather's fantastic. It was raining earlier, I think yesterday, which was quite nice. Was it raining yesterday? It's rained recently.
recently.
Yeah,
I
it
can't say
drizzled a
when,
bit.
but it's
Yeah,
all
cool.
relative.
yeah, it was fucking
Cooler
hot last
yesterday.
week, and it's gonna be hot again at the end of the week. So it's a nice day. We're gonna enjoy the water.
Mhm.
That's right, Jazz. You're still here, so you get to hear me talk about what I'm gonna do after I leave.
Mhm.
Well, I was gonna do that anyways, you know. I was listening. So
No, I
Oh,
think
it's
it's
great.
important, and I just this conversation is meant to be. It's meant to be empathetic, and it's meant to be. I'd like to say in the spirit of adventure. Let's just say, because if you're growing out of fear that you're not enough, or you're growing because you think that it's going to get you to some place that life is in your control and you're going to reach this magical Shangri-La, you're not really growing. You know, like there's a limit to that. But you know, to just be here, you know, to just be who you are, to pay attention moment to moment, and understand that, you know, all you can do is your best. All you can do is your best, you know, and you can remember that people are doing their best, and sometimes that's hard, and you can remember that it's really fucking hard to remember that when you're afraid, you know, like let's just say that you are afraid of people never accepting you, or never I guess liking you, let's just say that. And so you think to yourself, well, if I can just get through to them, and you don't realize, like, that's not going to help much, because they need to accept who they are, right? And you can't teach them to do that. So all you can do is accept who they are, in the same way that you're trying to accept who you are. You know, and that's tricky, especially when you're afraid. You're like, fuck, you know, but they might be miserable forever. It's like, yeah, but how are you feeling worried about them being miserable forever? Like, how are you doing judging them, thinking that you're not? And that's not some kind of, you know, sign of conflict yourself. So that helps.
And he's gone.
And Jazz is gone.
All right. But yeah, that sense of, well, that's very much for you, like a sense of
Yeah.
how you're doing.
Well intentioned. You
I
know,
guess
like I
if
said,
it's
it can be
about
well
you
intentioned, and
versus
I know
not.
exactly, like,
Yeah.
you know, I have a history with a relative. I won't say who, because my past is all fucked up, but where I thought, because of this person's role in my life, that we should have a certain kind of relationship, and that certain kind of relationship should be open, and, you know, and vulnerable, and, you know, I should be able to be myself, and I encourage the same in them, and therefore it's reciprocal. And that's the problem right fucking there, is that not everybody's going to live that way. Not everybody's going to want to live that way. Not everybody's going to see the reason to live that way, or the benefit of living that way. Not everybody's going to, in fact, you know, want to hear it at all. And are you willing to ignore that at the cost of them pushing away, at the cost of a larger gap? Or are you willing to just accept that and recognize that maybe that's okay? Maybe them living that way is exactly what you need to learn how to live your way. Maybe it's not about them changing, but you changing. And that's harder to accept sometimes, because we want the quote unquote best for people. But the best for people is for them to live their life. It's not for us to teach them how to live their life, right? If they're going to learn anything from us, it's that we don't even want to teach them what to do with their life. You know, that we don't need to. And by virtue of that, you know, we're okay learning from them when it's valuable, but we're also okay not going, no, I'm okay without that. Right? That's the whole point. Like, all we're ever really learning is to accept ourselves. And you can't teach people to accept themselves, because that's thinking that you need to. You know, we're all okay. We just have a lot of opinions of each other. You know, but recognizing that, we can at least come together a little bit more.
Definitely. Yeah, because those opinions are
And I just wanted to mention there's a comment from Jazz. I thought I was supposed to leave and I got scared and left. I appreciate that. No,
That's
we
real.
would call that call-in show etiquette,
Mhm.
and I appreciate it for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, relationships are complicated. And I think they're supposed to be. Again, this is supposed to be grounded. You're not supposed to use this as a way to separate from the world. You're supposed to use this as a way to just, I don't know, express the world. Everything you add to your repertoire adds to what you can express.
Yeah, it's a way to and to realize too that you don't even know, what might be best for someone. So like living your life trying to control, the external never does it. It never actually gives you that. It can give you that feeling of like, oh, I can think there's a right thing to do and then do that. And there's like a mindful satisfaction, but that's pretty much always going to be something that has to do with you, instead of more of a sensitivity to things and taking in more considerations beyond just the immediate ones, or maybe ones you're used to, or ones that are a big chunk of that being self-involved, being focused on yourself. And I think you can try and curate an environment that is based on your opinions and preferences, and you're still kind of seeing through yourself, but you don't even realize. It's like you're relaxed, you're attentive, but then that expands a little bit more, so you're not able to see through your picture image of yourself that then your environment is validating in the same way. And then there's the opportunity to assume that it has something to do with your environment, your expanded environment, versus taking it in yourself, being like, oh no, this is me. This is still my response. This is just, I'm in, new situations or different situations. But it's still, there's that opportunity to understand that like it all comes from you. It's not coming from someone else or something else. And that's, where responsibility comes in. I think that's a huge benefit to something like cannabis, is there is more of an ability to take more responsibility for things. Like it's a lot easier when you're sober to pass off responsibility for how you feel or what you're dealing with or what you're going through. And then with something like cannabis, like you're more aware of yourself and more sensitive.
I think
to
you can
things.
be. I think that can be dangerous in that you're passing off responsibility to cannabis, right? Like, hey, and you're high,
Yeah.
which means that it's not just possible when you're sober;
Mhm.
it's possible all the time. And this is why cannabis doesn't really do anything. In the same way, psychedelics don't really do anything. Like a psychedelic experience can help you detach from the story you tell yourself, and by virtue of that, you can suddenly look at the fucking world and go, and then come out of that and define yourself by it, going straight back into the illusion. Right? It doesn't do anything. Cannabis is the same thing. You can smoke weed, relax, and still be judging yourself under the surface, thinking that relaxation means physically relaxing.
Mhm.
Right, rather than relaxing your stress response, your defense mechanism, your insecurities, relaxing all of that stuff. That's not something you have to do with weed. You don't have to be introspective or reflective at all, and a lot of people aren't. And that's why they're like, oh, I never smoke sativas. It's like, why? It's because you don't want to self-reflect, because that's what usually happens with that strain. So you can avoid it, and you can pass it off to the cannabis too. But the fact is that if you're self-reflective, you're self-reflective. If you're willing to be self-reflective, you're just willing to be self-reflective. You'll do it when you're sober or when you're not, but you're right on the one hand that it is more difficult when you're tense. It's not necessarily about being high, but being relaxed.
Mhm.
When you're relaxed, you tend to be more aware. When you're tense, you tend to get tunnel vision.
Yeah, it's like the tension is the gripping, the shrinking of the what you're taking in, the awareness, the attention to things. And Yeah, I can get really narrow, but I guess that is because there is, I mean, as much as there's not like there is a feeling of shift. I think maybe it's that feeling of being sober, that assumption that you're in, control all the time and you know exactly how to respond to things. Like that can be just such a consistent way that you live that being, taking some mushrooms or smoking a little bit, like it can feel a lot different, but it's still, another experience just like being sober is, which, doesn't really is never really the case. Like you're getting pushed and pulled by things, but yeah, because there is a shift. There's like a difference in feeling, or it feels like that, but it yeah, it's just a different degree of attention in a sense, but yeah, I guess it is always possible. It's not just siloed to those experiences so much.
Mhm. Absolutely. And on that note, we are coming to the close of our call-in show, and I love that word. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And Jazz, Marie, Jay, it was wonderful chatting with you. And thank you, everybody, for joining. We look forward to future call-ins, and we've got a Patreon in about 15 minutes.
Half hour.
Half hour.
Half hour. We're going to take off and go and enjoy the oceanfront view here. And we'll talk to all of our Patreon members in a very short period. This has been fun, everyone.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Appreciate those who called in. See you on Patreon very soon.